Gorden, the Executive Director at the NSWMA, and he'll be my guest right now. Good afternoon, Mr. Gorden. How are you doing?
I'm in very good spirits, Vernon. Good afternoon to you, your listeners, your viewers.
It is great to have you. And you seem to have a wonderful background there. I love it. Yes,
Right.
yes, I love it.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to go to something which made the news recently. And I said, no, that's Mr. God. You know, is a man who will make decisions in the benefit of people. And I've always said you have laws and you have regulations, but there comes, well, the laws, you have to adhere to your laws. But when an organization has its rules and regulations, sometimes you have to bend, and depending on the circumstances. And this has to do with, I gather, academic qualifications set in terms of what the sanitation workers need to have to get certain jobs. But I was surprised because we have to be careful how we wipe certain people out of employment because they're not of a certain level. And sometimes it's not entirely their fault. So give us a background. And I must say I was quite fascinated by your decision.
Right. So thank you for the opportunity to explain that, Vernon.
Yes.
We recruit sanitation workers, sweepers, etc., from literacy challenges there. We could not just treat it, as you said, according to what is the expected norm or the regulations or what. So we have to make a decision in order for us, firstly, to have adequate amount of sweepers and sanitation workers, and also to look at the humanitarian side also. We had to make that decision that we will not stop someone because they can't read or write from getting work at that level. And in doing so, we also take onto ourselves the added duty of encouraging them to move in a different direction in terms of their literacy to ensure that they can become literate. And we have seen where quite a number of them have heeded our guidance, our encouragement, and we even have a couple of cases where they have gone on to do CXC exams and have passed them.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So you don't believe in throwing away people like that?
No, we don't believe, because the truth is that, Vernon, the difference between someone who is highly qualified and someone who is not, sometimes it's opportunity, sometimes it's circumstances that, in a different set of circumstances, that man who is there, you call him an illiterate person and you want to discard him. In another set of circumstances, if he was in another set of circumstances in a different environment, he'd probably be a lawyer or a doctor.
What a thing. And I must admit that it seems as if the society tend to equate competence with academic qualifications. And I have a challenge with that. I have been accused that I'm fighting down university graduates because I didn't go to university. Well, I don't normally walk around and tell everybody, but I am a graduate of 2 universities. But that doesn't matter. What matters here is if Vernon is able to host the show and do a proper job. So I could have my doctorate and my diction is poor, and you can't employ me.
Right. So you're right, Vernon, in that we must look at competence. We must look at one's life's experience. Somebody, we have situations right now where we have to be like turning back people who are very good drivers, but they can't pass certain standard at the traffic authority, at the island traffic authority. And they are good drivers. They've been driving for some of them for decades.
But I want to give you something which is just as I probably say humorous. Some of the best doctors in this country, they cannot write. So you can read it.
Right.
No. Can you imagine if we had disqualified all of them because they can't write?
And the challenge, Joseph Vernon, is to get people to think out of the box sometimes, because You could go to a strange country where you don't even understand the language, and you could, as a tourist, go there and get a permit to drive for 90 days.
And you can't speak the
Because
language.
you can't even, but you can know a stop sign when you see it.
Yes, when
You
you see a
can,
stop sign.
you know that green mean go, and you mean that, you know, the red means stop. And you know, if they say to drive on the left or on the right, you know that. But you can't go there and read their language. You don't even understand it in the first place, but you'll be able to drive. But that kind of thinking, enlightened thinking, seems to have eluded some people. Because I believe experience is what you should use to put a man on the road to drive.
You bore me with that one there, because that is not the general thinking of quite a number of us. But I must tell you, after seeing your story, I have to be careful what I said, because I might be saying things which are confidential. But I must tell you, I made a speech, you see. I think at the end of that speech, everybody, they just looked at me about that same matter. We have to be careful, because we're now living in a society. Once upon a time, you had to have land to vote. Now, it seems as if we are moving into a situation that you have to have your degree in order to earn an income. And you're really discriminating. Now, I must admit, you want persons to be educated to be able to read and write, so that if there's direction, they can. But you have to be very careful. And one of the problems for us having persons who can't read and write, and I will be talking with the Minister of Education about that, is that we have been promoting youngsters from class to class when they are not competent at a particular grade level. And this doesn't make sense. Boys mature later than girls. And sometimes when you're 13 and 14, you're an idiot, you just have fun. You're not a dunce. You're just not ready to sit down in a classroom. And let's also be very frank. Teaching has become very boring sometimes. And teaching can be entertaining. I remember the last time I went to somewhere in Trelawney, and the teacher said they don't like maths. I said, that me too. I struggle with it too. So I went to the class and I said, me say 2 1s, 2 1, a 2 2s, 4, a 2 3 6, and the whole class came alive, because you see they relate to the rhythm and the whole dance culture. Vibe. So sometimes when you have boys stoned for like 2, 3, 4 hours, it must be boring. Boys can't stay down and keep quiet. The girls will probably be able to do that, but not the boys. So I'm glad to know. So those persons, how many of them have you employed, by the way?
The overwhelming percentage of our sweepers and sanitation workers, they are in here without us demanding any qualification from them.
Okay. And what you can do is to help them so that
and
they
then
can
they
can take over your position one day,
Of course. You see, Vernon, leadership can't be just about meeting the deadlines and exerting power to ensure that this get done and that get done. Leadership has to be emboldened and undergirded by empathy. And it is important that we lead with empathy.
I will tell you something, and I'm going to get myself in trouble. I remember when you were to be appointed to that position, there are quite a number of skeptics. I will tell you that many of those who are very skeptical, you are proving to a better leader than they have been so far. Gonna go for the break. When we come back, you tell me more about what is happening in NSWMA. Yes, we're talking about that initiative with the KSAMC that you're working with to have those garages removed from the sidewalks. And I guess these garages are all over Jamaica. They're so unsightly. And also the garbage and the old cars that are all over the place.
All right. So the initiative is mainly about derelict vehicles at this time.
Right.
It will move into other things as we go along. But so the municipal councils, not just the KSAC,
right,
the municipal councils across the island, they play a part in ticketing, along with our enforcement people, ticket these old cars, because Vernon is a funny kind of a protocol where even if a car look to you like it's not of any use whatsoever,
yes,
the fact that it's owned by someone, even the sheriff, we have to put a ticket on it
Mm.
and allow for a period to elapse so that the owners or owner can then choose to, suppose they wanted to use it for something. Could be
Yeah.
scrap metal, it could be
You
that they
mean, hold on,
wanted
you
to.
thought about cars on the sidewalk?
Yes, no, I'm talking about derelict vehicles. And that's why I
Yes,
said the
but guess what?
program.
Guess what? If the law says so, the law don't make sense. It needs to be changed. Because if I park my car where it's not supposed to be parked, they throw it away. So,
Right. So we have this in place that
yes.
there's a notice given. Once the notice expire now, then it becomes fair game. And so the municipal councils help us in that
Yes.
exercise. And I must tell you that we got 4 new crane trucks in the last batch of 50 trucks that we got.
Oh, I see.
There,
So
there
you
were
mean business?
yes, 4 new crane trucks were a part of
Yes.
that. And so far, they have been put to good use. We've been moving derelict cars all over Jamaica.
But hold on, let me ask you, Mr. God. You get these trucks, right? You have to put gas in it. You have a
Yes,
driver. The
right.
man have to work. So who cover that cost now?
So to move the derelict cars,
Yes.
you're talking? Well, once we serve the notice and the notice expire, we go for the cars. That's a cost to the taxpayer. We are now enforcing a
I have a
law.
problem with that, Mr. Gordon. If the cars can be identified, the owners must pay for all that cost. Because what is going to happen? They know you have trucks now to take them up. So I'm just going to dump it on the sidewalk. No, Mr. Gordon, that can't work. No, they
Well,
must pay for it.
up until such time, Vernon, when we
Yes.
have those kinds of regulations in place, then we can then move it to in a regime. But right now, where we are, we serve the notice, allow for the expiration of the notices, and then we move to retrieve the cars and take them to our disposal
The
facility.
lawmakers have to get working. Every time I hear about those laws, I say to myself, boy, these lawmakers were not thinking holistically. And we're talking about many years, of laws being made.
Right.
And that is why I've been suggesting that when laws are being made, we need to get the public more involved. Because you'll be surprised, though. Mr. Gordon, you're not a lawyer, but you'll be surprised with your experience and the way you think. Especially, I was going to say how you think garbage. No lawyer can't tell about garbage, They
Well,
can't.
you see, Vernon, laws,
Yes.
though, laws were always to be reviewed from time to time and
Yes,
to,
yes.
because what is good for society today might not be so good 40 years from now.
Right.
So, the trouble is that the rate at which we review and tweak and repeal and so on might
Yes,
be a little
yes.
slow, because even when you take, for instance, the area of fines and so on, some of the fines we are carrying them for decades.
Mr. Gordon, I've given a solution for that one, sir. Help me if you can lobby for that. Solution is simple. You need what is called a Fines Act. Fines and Penalties Act. And all you find in that act are those fines and penalties, and they're all numbered. So, traffic ticket, for example, for breaking the stoplight, your penalties under number 24 of the Fines and Penalties Act. So when you're ready, you just simply change the fines in that act, and it impacts all laws. I've been saying that for years, Mr. God. So, and we just need to use our creativity, man. You can't put, for example, I know on the books, I think it costs about $20 open on a Sunday, so now everybody open on a Sunday. And there are quite a few laws like that. So I beg of you, help me to lobby for that. So we have one act for the fines and penalties, and all acts now will refer to know that act. Yes, go ahead.
So we find that at times in trying to do a job, we can't just do it in the free and what we call common sense way.
Yes, the laws, you need the laws too.
The Vernon would have seen it or so on. We have to be constrained by what the laws say.
There's a term, you have to be shackled by the law. You don't have to commit to that one. So it means therefore we need to update all laws. And that is why, and you'll be getting blamed, You'll be getting blamed for something that you have no control over.
Well, just come with the territory, Vernon. We
Yes, yes.
continue to do the best we can, and we know that we have to play the hand that we draw. So
Yes.
that's what's life. But you go to bed comfortable at nights, knowing that you did your best. And yeah.
Let me just tell the public, I've done it already, but I say it again. You're one of those heads that one can call, send messages. Those that send messages at ungodly hours of the night. Yes, I do. And you do respond and you get your staff on it. So I want to commend you. There are a few organizations like that, the RGD, Consumers Affairs Commission, Water Commission and such. I must commend you all. You do jump on things and get things done.
We try to be responsive as best we can, Vernon,
Yes.
because this business thrives best on partnership. The more people you have looking out and giving you information and helping you to keep the thing going, it's better, you know. So we always want to be, responding, because when we get a call from a citizen or read a media house, we see it as helping us to do a job that we can't have. We can't have a representative everywhere seeing everything.
I tell you, you are abnormal, Mr. Gordon. You are abnormal. I'd love you to repeat that point for me. When you get a call from a media house, how do you see it?
Whether it be a media house, a resident, whether urban or rural, wherever you call from or whatever you call about, we see it as helping us to do a better job, because we can't be everywhere. And it is the information flowing into us that let us know whether we are doing badly, we are doing well, where we need to tweak, what we can do better or differently. So we value that. We value it.
Now, I hope those who are listening who are very skeptical when you are to be appointed to that post, because I tell you, I know of one person in particular, and they have all 2-3 degrees too, you know, and big profession, because I was quite critical of how they do certain things. They don't come on in any of my programs again. As a matter of fact, I was reported by that individual from that government entity. It's amazing that that person is so powerful that they can decide not to come on my program. So they're no longer a servant of the people. And it's just amazing. Can you imagine? I'm trying to help, but I'm reported. There are a four-page letter was sent above, and they asked me to respond. I said, respond to what? Nobody calls me, no can always kick me out. They did. That's enough. Why am I not behaving myself this morning, Mr. God? You know, I'm like that. I can't tend to be very blunt when I'm ready. Now, you tell me now some other things you want to see happen. I know you have another big one on your head of moving the Riverton City dump, and that is going to be a difficult one, I know, politically and otherwise. But tell me what is up to you. Opening the floor to you as any crucial thing that you plan to do, any announcements you want to make.
Okay, so right now we are in the middle of transitioning sanitation workers and other members of staff from contract work to permanent work. We are in that, carrying through that exercise as we speak. Up to this morning, I was signing permanent letters for our staff here. That is huge, Vernon, because you know the problem contract workers face when they come to plan their lives. You know, you're on a contract, it expires, you're not sure if you're gonna go back. Sometimes the call to come back take longer than it should. You know, you're uncertain. No financial institution don't take you seriously. You can't make the kind of plans and structure your planning for development on a contract work. That's especially here where we use a short-term contract in most cases, 6 months, 1 year. So when you move people into permanent employment now, there's a big deal, because now they will be taken seriously by NHT, banks, everywhere. They will be able to plan on their future and can really put in place that kind of a safeguard that can carry them in their older years. So we are very happy for that. Very happy.
Hold on. You are telling me that these people, and you call them sanitation workers, right?
Yes.
They are supposed to be cleaners. We call them cleaners. They have the broom. They clean up the place for us.
So some of them sweep, some of them lift up the drum from your gate, the bags, everything from, and they do that in the rain, in the sun, night and day.
And you tell me, we turn around and treat them like dirt when it's them cleaning up all the dirt?
Well, for decades,
Yes.
they were unattached to worker.
Can you
We have
imagine?
we have
What
changed
a
that a
nice way
little
you put it, on a touch.
bit. That's how it was deemed on the establishment. But we have turned that now into this great moment where
Yes.
they are receiving permanent letters.
Let me
That's a
ask
big
you,
deal.
I hope the workers have recognized that, because sometimes,
Mm.
as they must bow to people here, but we must not be ungrateful. So I hope they have recognized that. So now somebody can get a little housing trust. They can plan out to own a little cubicle. What a
Right.
thing. But
Right.
I get
So
the impression that all of this has been. So you have two things have happened in recent times that I'm very proud of, That situation in terms of, not you alone, because I know the minister is involved, but that act of getting these workers permanent. And
mhm.
also for employing those persons, although they know past 6 or whatever, grade 3 or 4. That's an act which tells me that you think of the people. And I keep on telling people that we tend to hate politicians, and they're disgusted, them corrupt and thief. But I've found out that when you have persons who have been involved in politics and you appoint them as a governor general, or you put them in charge of an organization, they understand people. I've had to be telling people with their masters and doctors, I said, listen, you would not be in that position if the trade unions didn't fight for you. Humble thyself and respect them. They might behave some way you don't like. Well, I was just as strong as that, Mr. God. I'm sure they're going to fire me after that. Again. Right. We
No, but it's
must
always
go.
about the people, and especially what we do here at the NSWMA.
Yes.
We have to pay great respect and regard to the
Right.
persons who come out. You see them out there daily at your gate, taking up the things that you don't want to face.
No,
You,
sir.
you
And I think
create the
one of them things if
garbage,
we take them, oh yes.
right?
Well,
You
when you
create
take
the
up the
garbage,
garage, we just stick that now. What are you mad?
right?
Yes.
We create it, then we get scared. We're afraid of it. We don't want it around. And there are some people who come and lift that
I
up
live it.
and
But
live
you
in
know which
that.
ones I respect, they don't work with you. Those who deal with this, the so amazed. Let me tell you something. May God bless them.
Mhm.
I've seen those guys go down there into it and do
Yes.
what they have to do. And I ask them how
But
they do it. They say, Saddam, we just have to do it.
they may be a little more intense, Vernon,
Yes.
in terms of that particular. But we have encountered, I mean, I won't say an error. We have encountered things that just your stomach turn.
You mean
What they got.
you make a crocodile vomit?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, I
And we have
understand.
to face that
Mhm.
daily. And
Well,
that's why I am so proud of our men and women who does that kind of work. And
mhm.
that's the reason why we spent 4 years between Ministry of Finance, local government, with Minister Mackenzie, Dennis Strong and the farmer board. And we work assiduously
Yes.
until we get Dr. Nigel Clark to say yes. And we are now issuing permanent letters.
Mhm.
It's, for me, the best accomplishment in my professional life.
But also there's another one. You have
Mhm.
forgotten that. I understand that you have tightened up the accounts, and I hear that was in a state of
That,
garbage.
that is a huge one too, Vernon,
Yes.
because when we came in that to this office
Yes.
2016, at that time we had over 10 years, probably going 12 years
No man, that's not true.
of unaudited financials.
Oh yo.
We weren't filing our audits and we weren't doing our annual reports. I am to tell Jamaica that right now, we, in the last 5 years, we have not only filed our audits on time, and I
Yes.
say on time because there is a stipulated time frame
Right.
in which those things must be done. And we are doing it, not only are we doing it, but we are
Mm.
doing it on time on our annual reports. And if you check the record of Parliament and Hansard, we are one of the few companies that are in that position.
That is why, I understand that one mayor who had a major fight some years with, I heard he told some people, and it wasn't council what he told them, one thing with Vernon Dab, when you don't do what is right, he'll tear you down. But when you do what
Yeah.
is right, he commends you. Well, I must tell you, I'd love everybody to do the same thing because I'm not here in the media singing that Sankey about a course being behind 12 years. We hear about places that are not audited that we need to talk about. But at the same time, and so what encouragement sweetens labor, we have to commend those who do it. And I want to use this opportunity to commend you, the board, your management, and your staff for really helping to turn that place around. You still have some more garbage to clean up, though, and we'll be working with you.
Before I go to the garbage, Vernon, I must tell you that
that garbage I was thinking of is that you continue.
I must tell you that another success that we have accomplished here, and here I give credit to the former board. There was a Camille Facey, attorney at law, who head up the corporate governance set up for us.
Oh yes, our father-in-law taught me, Yes.
Yes, and I will tell you that she was a very strict person, a person who was a no nonsense when it comes to corporate governance.
Yes.
And her efforts have changed the culture of the NSWMA to the point where we are able, of the 100 plus public bodies, we have entered the competition each year for the Corporate Governance Award. And we have not only entered, but in the last one that was held 2024, we won 4 awards. We won our second place for most improved public body. We won compliance and disclosure of information.
What?
That's what we're doing here. So, yes, second place there. Corporate governance, policies, procedures, and practices. We got a third place there. And board composition, function, and structure, we got a second place there. That's 4 sectional awards we are winning in the Corporate Governance Award. Can I tell you that a lot of companies, most of them don't even bother to apply?
I know. They don't even bother to apply.
Right, they don't even bother.
I was a judge 1 year, so I'm aware of the challenges. They don't bother to apply because I know that they're not going to get anything. I think everyone should, because it was my opinion then, that everyone should be judged. No matter, every single one should be judged. That's like you have 20 students and only 3 have the capability. You enter 3, only 3 passes, you get 100%.
Right. So what we do, we not only enter, but we are entering and competing to the point where we are winning awards in the Corporate Governance Award.
And I cannot say to you, you're talking garbage. I can't.
No, man, that is big. And we want to forever change the culture. So not only are we doing some good things on the management of the financial resource, but overall on the governance side of the ledger, we are putting in place the kind of governance arrangement that will see us working in a way that command the respect of
I sort of leave it, but guess what? I'm going to make a suggestion now. Since we draw people in, what they call it now? What they call the committee? Is the what?
No, the Corporate Governance Committee?
In Parliament, man. They have a committee.
You mean PAAC?
The PAAC.
Right.
Since they draw you up, as a culture of ours, we draw people when they do something wrong. Why not invite your organization to Parliament just to commend you? And that will make the news. We must not only draw people, but we must also recognize them when they do well. Any final point you want to make before you leave us?
We had a quick conversation on that at one stage, and why you don't have a lot of noise being made when good things are done. And I'm told that when you do good, that's what you're supposed to do. So that's not.
And I would say, you pay people to do a job, but I will tell you something. When you say thank you very much, it makes a whole lot of difference, because they not only do it for the pay, they do it because they realize that their work is appreciated. And when your work is appreciated, sometimes it values more than the pay. So tell them I said that.
Right. So what I'm trying to do is to communicate these successes right across the regions.
To you only have 30 seconds.
To all the staff. We are in reset mode now, where we are looking at what we can do differently. There will be some personnel changes in terms of moving around people. Somebody might not be so good at that desk, but they will do better at this desk. We are doing all of that, and in a bid to ensure that we meet the demands that is out there in terms of garbage collection. We are going deeper into the night with our collections now. We are putting in a full night collection crew to make sure that we can take charge.
Have to run now, and thank you for not showing those potential employees to the garbage. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Audley Gorden, you have a wonderful day. It's always great talking with you.